A tea Thanksgiving dinner. My sister brought her new boyfriend. When he asked about my job, Mom snapped. Some things are better left unsaid. My sister laughed. She hands out candy and stickers to sick kids. I set down my glass. That's funny, he saw me every morning last month. Just never without a mask. My name is Mary Shockley. I'm 33 years old. At Thanksgiving dinner, my sister brought her new boyfriend. When he asked about my job, my mom cut in fast. Some things are better left unsaid. My sister laughed. She hands out candy and stickers to sick kids. I set down my glass. That's funny. He saw me every morning last month. Just never without a mask. The table went quiet. My sister's smile froze. My mother's face went white. And her boyfriend? His hands started shaking. They didn't know where I really work. They didn't know what I really do. And they definitely didn't know who I was the last time he saw me. What happened next changed everything. I arrived at my mother's house at 2:30 that afternoon. The Victorian sat behind gates in one of those Westchester County neighborhoods where every driveway had German cars and every lawn had professional landscaping. I punched in the code 1 to 8 minus 2, 2 to 9, same as always, and drove through. My Toyota Camry looked small next to the Mercedes, and BMWs already parked along the circular drive. I counted 7 cars. I was late, as usual. Not late by normal standards. Dinner wasn't until 4. But late by my mother's standards, which meant I wasn't there 2 hours early to help set up. I parked at the far end of the driveway, made myself small. Old habit. The house was already full when I walked in. I could hear voices from the living room, that particular pitch of polite conversation that happens when people are performing for each other. I slipped through the foyer, carrying the pie I'd bought from the grocery store on the way over. Homemade wasn't in my schedule this year. Homemade hadn't been in my schedule for 7 years. Mary, you're here. My mother appeared in the kitchen doorway. Patricia Shockley, 59, perfectly maintained, wearing a cream cashmere sweater that probably cost more than my monthly car payment. Her hair was done. Her makeup was flawless. She looked at my pie with the expression she might use for roadkill. Can you help bring the dishes from the kitchen? She said, not a question, not a greeting, just an assignment. Sure, I said. She was already walking away. I carried the pie into the kitchen and set it on the counter next to 3 other pies, all homemade, all in beautiful ceramic dishes. Mine was in a plastic container with a grocery store label. I left it there and started carrying serving dishes to the dining room. That's when I saw the portrait. It was new, or new since the last time I'd been here, which had been Easter. 6 months ago. The frame was silver, Tiffany's, probably, and it sat on the mantel above the fireplace in the living room, where everyone could see it. The photo was from last year, a Christmas portrait. My mother and my sister, Amanda, both in red dresses, both smiling, professionally lit, professionally composed. It must have cost $500 easy. I wasn't in it. I stopped in the doorway holding a bowl of mashed potatoes and looked at that portrait. I tried to remember when they'd taken it. December clearly, but which day? Had they told me about it? Had they invited me and I'd been working? Or had they just not told me at all? Mary, honey. I turned. My Aunt Helen was walking toward me, 70 years old. My mother's older sister, the only person in this family who'd ever bothered to ask me real questions. She hugged me carefully, mindful of the potatoes. It's good to see you, she said. And the way she said it, quiet, gentle, a little sad, made me think she'd seen the portrait too. She knew I wasn't in it. She knew what that meant. You too, I said. She squeezed my arm and moved past me into the dining room. I looked back at the mantel. There were other photos there too. Amanda's law school graduation. Amanda and my mother at the country club. A family photo from 3 Christmases ago. I was in that one, but barely visible. Standing at the edge of the frame, like I was trying to leave. 7 years. 7 Christmases. And the only photos of me were the ones where I was half cropped out. I carried the potatoes to the dining room. The table was set for 14. Lenox china, my mother's wedding china from 1988. Crystal glasses, a floral centerpiece that probably cost $800. The table was beautiful. It always was. My mother had excellent taste. She just didn't have room for me in it. I looked for my place card. There it was, far end of the table, near the kitchen door, squeezed between Aunt Helen and Cousin Greg, who was 28 and barely spoke to anyone. From that seat, I'd have a clear view of the head of the table where my mother would sit, but I'd be far enough away that I could be forgotten. Perfect. I went back to the kitchen to get more dishes. That's when Amanda came downstairs. I heard her before I saw her. That laugh, the one she used when she wanted everyone to know she was happy. High-pitched, performative. The laugh that said, "Look at me. Look at how good everything is, Mom." She called from the top of the stairs. "He's almost here." Tyler texted 5 minutes away. The energy in the house changed instantly. My mother rushed out of the kitchen, smoothing her sweater, checking her hair in the hallway mirror. Guests started gathering in the living room. Everyone wanted to see Amanda's new boyfriend, the one she'd been talking about for months. The successful one, the charming one, the one who was finally worthy of her. I stayed in the kitchen. 5 minutes later, I heard the car pull up. A BMW X5, black. I could see it through the window. The engine cut off. The door opened. Tyler Hutchinson stepped out, and my stomach dropped. He was tall, 6'2" maybe, expensive suit, navy, tailored. Tom Ford, if I had to guess. His watch caught the light. Rolex Submariner, $12,000 retail. I knew because I'd seen it before. Recently, I set down the serving spoon I was holding. My hands weren't shaking. That's one thing. Trauma surgery teaches you how to keep your hands steady, even when your heart is pounding, even when everything inside you is screaming. I walked to the edge of the kitchen and watched through the doorway as he came inside. Amanda rushed to him, kissed him, held his hand, introduced him to everyone. My mother was beaming, absolutely radiant, as she shook his hand and told him how wonderful it was to finally meet him. And Karen and Uncle Bob stepped forward. Then Cousin Greg. Then my mother's friends. 3 women from her book club who'd been invited to make the guest count look more impressive. Tyler smiled, shook hands, said all the right things. He had that polish that comes from years of working rooms. Confident, charming, the kind of man who makes people feel like they're the most important person in the conversation. "This is Tyler Hutchinson," my mother was saying loud enough for the room to hear. "He's a commercial real estate developer. His company manages over 85 million in properties." Tyler laughed, modest. "My team does great work. I'm lucky to work with them." The room loved him. Amanda brought him into the kitchen. Her face was glowing. "Tyler, this is my sister, Mary. She works at a hospital. Tyler extended his hand. Firm grip. Warm smile. Eye contact for exactly 2 seconds. Nice to meet you, Mary. I shook his hand. He didn't recognize me. Of course, he didn't. The last time he'd seen me, I'd been wearing a surgical cap, a mask, a gown, covered in his wife's blood. I'd been exhausted, running on 30 hours with no sleep, standing in a waiting room at 2:43 in the morning, telling him his wife and son were going to survive. He'd been crying, holding his 18-month-old daughter, saying, "Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much." Now, he was standing in my mother's kitchen, holding my sister's hand, wearing the same cologne I'd smelled through my mask 6 weeks ago. Tom Ford Outwood. Strong, distinctive. The scent memory hit me like a fist. I let go of his hand. "Nice to meet you," I said. I didn't smile. Amanda didn't notice. She was already pulling him toward the living room, showing him off. I heard my mother telling him about the house, about the neighborhood, about how long they'd lived here. Her voice was animated in a way it never was when she talked to me. I leaned against the kitchen counter, took a breath, processed. Tyler Hutchinson, commercial real estate developer, dating my sister for how long had Amanda said? 4 months. Since July. They'd met through my mother's real estate network. Some business connection. A dinner party. Amanda had been thrilled. Finally, she'd said, finally, someone good. And I'd just operated on his wife 5 weeks ago. I pulled out my phone, opened the Notes app, where I kept patient details. Not full charts, just enough to jog my memory for follow-ups. I scrolled back to October. There, October 20th. Jennifer Hutchinson, emergency C-section, HELP syndrome, placental abruption, hemorrhage, baby boy, 5 pounds, 3 ounces, NICU, level 2, mother, stable, after transfusion. Husband, present, Tyler Hutchinson, listed as emergency contact, insurance, under his name, family plan, address, 863 Meadowbrook Lane, Scarsdale. I looked up. Amanda was laughing in the living room. Tyler had his arm around her. My mother was introducing him to more people, and I knew something. None of them knew. I slipped my phone back into my pocket. My mother was calling everyone to the table. The seating arrangement was exactly what I'd expected. My mother at the head of the table, Amanda to her right, glowing, practically vibrating with happiness. Tyler next to Amanda, the seat of honor. Aunt Karen and Uncle Bob on the left side. Then, my mother's book club friends, Carol Henderson, Susan Mitchell, Linda Chen. Then the younger cousins, and finally, at the far end, near the kitchen door, squeezed between Aunt Helen and Cousin Greg. Me. From my seat, I had a perfect view of Tyler's left hand. No wedding ring, but the tan line was there, clear as day. 4th finger, left hand. The skin was paler, where a ring had been. Recently removed. Maybe this morning, maybe in the car on the way here. I watched him. He was performing beautifully, answering questions about his business, telling a charming story about a deal he'd closed last week. Something about Chicago, a business trip, negotiations, victory. Jennifer had thought he was in Chicago last week too. I knew because I'd seen her for a post-op follow-up. She'd mentioned it. Tyler's traveling a lot lately. Big project in Chicago, but he always makes time to FaceTime with the kids before bed. The kids, Lily, 18 months old, and Noah, 5 weeks old today, home from the NICU for just over 2 weeks. I picked up my fork, started eating turkey, mashed potatoes, green beans. Everything tasted like nothing. The conversation at the table flowed around me. Tyler was the center of it. Amanda kept touching his arm, his shoulder, his hand. My mother kept steering the conversation back to him. What was his company working on? Where did he see the market going? Had he always wanted to work in real estate? He answered everything perfectly, confident, but not arrogant, successful, but humble, funny, but not trying too hard. I watched my mother watch him. She was delighted. This was exactly what she'd wanted for Amanda. Someone impressive, someone she could brag about at the country club, someone who made the Shockley family look good. I thought about the last 7 years. The pattern had started in medical school. I'd graduated in 2015 from NYU School of Medicine. White coat ceremony. After my name, I'd borrowed $280,000 to get there, but I'd made it. My father had died in 2011, a heart attack, sudden, devastating, and I'd gone to medical school because of him, because I'd watched him die and couldn't do anything about it, because I wanted to save people like him. My mother didn't come to my graduation. She had a conflict. Amanda had a work event, a happy hour at her law firm, networking, important for her career. My mother went to that. Instead, I walked across that stage alone. My roommate's family took a photo with me. They were kind about it. That was the first time. It wasn't the last. Residency came next. 5 years, 80 to 100 hours a week. I chose OBGYN because I loved it. The complexity, the intensity, the fact that I was often dealing with 2 patients at once, mother and baby, life and death in real time. My mother told people I was working in healthcare, not a doctor, not a surgeon, just working in healthcare. Like I was a receptionist, like I answered phones. I didn't correct her at first. I thought maybe she just didn't understand. Medicine is complicated. Specialties are confusing. Maybe she'd figure it out. But then I found the email. December 2018. I was in my 3rd year of residency. My mother had forwarded me something accidentally, I think, an email chain with Carol Henderson, her friend from the country club. Carol had asked about me. How's Mary doing? Is she still in medical school? My mother's response? Mary's a nurse at a hospital now. She works with babies. It's sweet work. Very nurturing. I wasn't a nurse. I was a resident physician. I was delivering babies, performing surgeries, managing life-threatening complications. I was 3 years into a 4-year program that would make me a board-certified OBGYN, and my mother had called me a nurse. I called her, asked her about it, tried to explain. Oh, Mary, she'd said, tired, frustrated. Does it really matter? People don't need to know all the technical details. It's easier to just say, you work with babies. Everyone understands that. I didn't call her again for 3 months. The pattern continued. Every family gathering, every holiday, every chance encounter with her friends. My mother had a script. Amanda was doing wonderfully. Maid, partner, handling huge cases, just got another raise. And Mary? Well, Mary works at a hospital with children. It's nice. I finished residency in 2019, top of my program. I delivered over 600 babies. I'd assisted on hundreds of surgeries. I'd spent 8,000 hours in operating rooms. I'd learned to manage hemorrhages, eclampsia, placental abruptions, uterine ruptures. I'd learned to make split-second decisions that saved lives. My mother told her book club. I helped doctors deliver babies. I moved into fellowship, maternal fetal medicine. 2 more years. I specialized in high-risk obstetrics, the complicated cases, the ones where the mother had diabetes, hypertension, preeclampsia, the ones where the baby had growth restrictions or genetic abnormalities, the ones where both mother and baby could die. If someone didn't know exactly what they were doing, I published 8 papers. I presented at 3 national conferences. I was invited to teach at Columbia. My mother didn't mention any of it. In 2021, I became an attending physician at Maria Ferreira Children's Hospital, part of Westchester Medical Center, one of the top maternal fetal programs in the state. Level 3, maternal care. Level 4, NICU. The place where they send the cases no one else can handle. I was 29 years old. I was making $368,000 a year. I was supervising 3 residents. I was on call for 24-hour shifts, 6 days a month. I had performed over 200 deliveries and 50 emergency surgeries. And my mother still told people I helped with births. I stopped trying to correct her. I stopped mentioning my work. I stopped going to family events unless I absolutely had to. I worked 85 hours a week and told myself it was fine. I didn't need her approval. I didn't need her pride. I just needed to show up, stay quiet, and save lives where it mattered. But it hurt. God, it hurt. I remembered Amanda's promotion party in June 2023. It was at the Plaza in Manhattan. Black tie. 300 people. My mother rented out a ballroom. There were speeches, toasts, a video presentation of Amanda's career highlights. I wasn't invited. I found out about it from Aunt Helen, who called me the day after. I looked for you. She'd said, your mother said you were working. I hadn't been working. I hadn't even known about it. I remembered my mother's 60th birthday cruise, December 2024. 10 days in the Caribbean. My mother and Amanda, mother-daughter time. They posted photos every day. Sunset dinners, spa days, cocktails by the pool. I'd asked if I could come. My mother had said it was already booked. Just the 2 of them. Maybe next time. There wasn't a next time. I remembered Christmas cards. Every year, my mother sent them to 200 people. Glossy, professional. The photo was always the same. Patricia and Amanda Shockley. Happy holidays. I wasn't in the photo. In 2024, I'd gotten one in the mail. My own mother's Christmas card. Sent to my apartment with me erased. I kept it in a drawer. I didn't throw it away. I don't know why. And now sitting at this Thanksgiving table, watching my mother fawn over Tyler Hutchinson, I realized something. She was never going to see me. I'd spent 7 years trying to earn her pride, trying to make her understand that what I did mattered, that saving mothers' lives was important, that high-risk obstetrics wasn't just helping with babies, that I was a surgeon, that I was good at what I did, that the first mattered. But she didn't want to see it because I'd chosen the wrong specialty. My father died when I was 19, heart attack, massive. He was 56, healthy. We'd thought no warning signs. He collapsed in his office. By the time the ambulance got there, he was gone. I remember sitting in the hospital afterward, listening to the doctor explain it to us. Myocardial infarction. Cardiac arrest? There was nothing they could do. I decided. Then, medical school. I was going to save people. Like him. My mother had been proud at first. Her daughter. The future doctor? She told everyone. She bragged at the country club. She imagined me in cardiology. Like Carol Henderson's son. Or neurosurgery. Like Susan Mitchell's daughter. Something prestigious. Something impressive. Something she could talk about at dinner parties. And then I chose OBGY. And you're choosing that, she'd said, standing in her kitchen in August 2014, when I told her about my residency match. Mary, that's women's work. Why not? Cardiology, neurosurgery, something prestigious. Saving mothers and babies is prestigious, I'd said. She'd looked at me like I'd disappointed her. Your father would have wanted you to be a real surgeon. Heart, brain, that's where the respect is, not this. That was the moment I realized I'd never be enough because I chose to save women, and to her, that didn't count. Her friends' children were doing important work. Carol Henderson's son, James, was chief of cardiology at NYU, featured in the New York Times last year for a breakthrough in valve replacement. Susan Mitchell's daughter, Rachel, was a neurosurgeon, published in JAMA, gave a TEDx talk about brain mapping, and me, I delivered babies. Anyone could do that, right? Except people died doing it. 700 women a year in the United States. Maternal mortality, most of them preventable. Hemorrhage, cardiovascular conditions, preeclampsia, complications that could kill a mother in minutes if someone didn't know what they were doing. My mortality rate was 0.8%. The national average was 1.2%. I'd saved 12 women from fatal complications in the last 2 years. 12 women who'd walked into or bleeding out, coding, dying, and walked out alive because I knew exactly what to do and didn't hesitate. But my mother called it handing out stickers. I stopped fighting to be seen. I just showed up, stayed quiet, and saved lives where it mattered. If you've ever been the invisible one at your own family table, drop a comment invisible, and I'll know I'm not alone. But that night, everything changed. The conversation at the dinner table had moved on to real estate. Tyler was holding court, talking about market trends, interest rates, the perfect time to invest. My mother's friends were hanging on every word. Amanda was glowing. I was cutting my turkey into small, precise pieces. Surgeon's hands, muscle memory. Tyler turned to me, smiled. That performative interest. So, Mary, he said, Amanda mentioned you work at a hospital. What exactly do you do there? The table quieted slightly. People turned to look at me. This was the part where I was supposed to be embarrassed. The part where I mumbled something vague, and the conversation moved on. But I was looking at him, really looking at him, at his tan line, at his cologne, at the way he held his wine glass, confident, casual, like a man who had nothing to hide. And I was thinking about Jennifer. I mean, healthcare is such a broad field. Tyler continued. Are you a nurse? Administrator? What's your role? Before I could answer, Amanda jumped in, laughing. Oh, Mary's job is adorable. She hands out candy and stickers to sick kids. Right, Mary? Like a hospital volunteer. She said it like it was a joke, like it was cute, like I was a child playing dress up. My mother's face went tight. Some things are better left unsaid at dinner, she said quickly. We're here to celebrate family, not discuss work. Tyler, tell us more about your Chicago trip. She was trying to shut it down, trying to protect herself, trying to keep me quiet. I sat down my wine glass. The sound was louder than I intended. Crystal hitting wood, sharp, clear. Everyone stopped, looked at me. My mother's eyes were wide, panicked. She knew something had shifted. That's interesting, I said. My voice was calm, clinical. The voice I used when delivering bad news to families. Steady, precise, no emotion. Because I'm an attending physician, I perform surgery. The room went completely still. Amanda's smile dropped. I'm sorry, what? My mother's face went white. Mary, we know you're a doctor. I'm an attending physician in obstetrics and gynecology at Maria Furrieri Children's Hospital, I said, cutting her off. Still calm, still precise. I specialize in high-risk maternal fetal surgery, primarily emergency C-sections. I've been in practice for 4 years. As an attending 8 years total since residency, I turned to Tyler, made eye contact. I'm board certified, fellowship trained. I supervised 3 residents. Last year, I performed 186 deliveries and 43 emergency surgeries. My maternal mortality rate is 0.8%, well below the national average of 1.2%. Tyler's fork stopped midair. His face had changed. The color had drained slightly. He was calculating something. High-risk obstetrics means I handle cases other doctors can't. I continued. Severe preeclampsia, placental abruption, hemorrhage, conditions that can kill a mother in minutes. It's not handing out candy. It's saving lives. Amanda was staring at me. Why didn't you ever say every emergency C-section I perform is because if I don't, someone dies, I said, cutting her off. Usually 2 people, mother and baby. The margins are razor thin. The decisions are made in seconds. And yes, sometimes I hand out stickers. After I've spent 6 hours in an OR covered in blood, keeping someone's wife alive, I looked at Tyler when I said that last part. Someone's wife? His hand trembled slightly, just slightly. But I saw it. My mother was trying to recover. Mary, we know you're a doctor. You told the Hendersons I was a nurse, I said, still calm, still factual. You told your book club I help with births. You've never once said the word surgeon when introducing me. Aunt Helen's hand went to her mouth. Uncle Bob was staring at my mother. The book club friends looked uncomfortable. I'm not ashamed of my work, Mom, I said. But you are, and I'm done pretending. That's okay. Tyler was about to say something, some smoothing over comment, some attempt to de-escalate, but I wasn't done. The work is demanding, I said, looking directly at him. I'm on call 6 days a month, 24-hour shifts. Last month was particularly brutal. October. I paused, let that word hang in the air. I had a case that stuck with me. Sometimes you get a case that stays with you. The ones where everything goes wrong at once, where you're racing against time. I tilted my head slightly, where the husband is in the waiting room, terrified, holding his toddler, praying you can save them both. Tyler's fork dropped. It hit his plate with a loud clink. All eyes turned to him. His face was white, completely white. His hand holding the wine glass started shaking. Tyler, Amanda said, are you okay? He didn't answer. I kept going. October 20th, I said, clinical, precise, like I was giving a medical report. A Monday, I was home, asleep, got the call at 12:15 a.m. patient in the ER, 35 weeks pregnant, Severe preeclampsia escalating fast. Blood pressure through the roof. I was out the door by 12:18. Arrived at the hospital at 12:52. Tyler stood up, suddenly. His chair scraped against the floor. Excuse me. Bathroom? He rushed out of the room. The table erupted. Multiple people talking at once. Amanda. What the hell was that? My mother. Mary? What are you doing? Aunt Helen. Oh my God. I sat there, calm, eating a bite of mashed potatoes, waiting. Amanda stood up, ran after Tyler. I could hear her in the hallway. Tyler? Tyler. What's wrong? I took another bite, chewed slowly, looked at my mother. She was staring at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Fear, maybe, or the beginning of understanding. I sat down my fork. When you get that call at midnight, I said to the table, to the guests still sitting there in shock, you know it's bad. They don't wake you up for routine deliveries. They wake you up when someone's dying. Amanda came back into the dining room without Tyler. Her face was flushed, confused, angry. He's on the phone. He won't talk to me. Mary. What the fuck are you doing? I'm eating Thanksgiving dinner, I said. Are you saying Tyler is married? You're lying. You're jealous. You've always been jealous. I didn't respond, just picked up my water glass. Took a sip, set it down with deliberate care. I don't need to lie, I said. His phone is about to do it for me. An awkward silence settled over the table. 2 minutes. 3. Tyler was still on the phone in the hallway. I could hear his voice, muffled, tense. My mother was hissing at me under her breath. Stop embarrassing this family. Amanda was pacing near the doorway. The guests were frozen, unsure whether to stay or leave. I checked my watch. 4:54 p.m. Tyler returned. His face was pale. He sat down heavily, put his phone face down on the table, tried to smile. Sorry about that. Work? It's fine. Let's eat. Amanda sat down next to him, took his hand. Who is that? Work? He said again. Nothing important. I cleared my throat. Everyone looked at me. Last month, I had a particularly complex case, I said. Conversational, like I was just making small talk. Severe preeclampsia. At 35 weeks, escalated to HELP syndrome around midnight. Emergency C-section, placental, abruption, significant, hemorrhage. Baby went to the NICU. Mother needed transfusion. Touch and go. For a few hours. Tyler was gripping his napkin so hard his knuckles were white. The husband was there the whole time. I continued. I remember because he was so grateful, kept thanking me, said I saved his family. I told him, that's my job. I'm just glad they're both okay. My eyes locked on Tyler. The hardest part isn't the surgery. It's the waiting room, the family. This case, the husband had been there since midnight, waiting. His mother-in-law was there, and he had his toddler daughter with him, maybe 18 months old. She was asleep on his lap. Tyler's hand was shaking so badly now that he had to set down his wine glass. I came out of the OR at 2:43 a.m., I said, still calm, still precise, still in scrubs, still had blood on my shoes. I was exhausted, but I had good news. So I walked into that waiting room and I told him, your wife is going to be okay. Your son is in the NICU, but he's breathing. You're going to be okay. Amanda's face was starting to register something. Confusion. The beginning of horror. Wait, Tyler has a daughter. Oh, I said. looking at her. He didn't tell you about Lily. Tyler's phone vibrated on the table, loud. Everyone heard it. He grabbed for it, but he wasn't fast enough. The screen lit up, face visible to everyone. Jennifer, wife, with a photo, a blonde woman, tired, but smiling, holding a newborn baby in a blue hospital blanket. Amanda screamed. Actually, screamed. What the fuck? Tyler grabbed the phone, stood up. It's not. I can explain. The phone rang again. Same contact. Same photo. Who is Jennifer? Amanda was shrieking now, standing. Her face was red. Tears were starting. Tyler had gotten comfortable, arrogant. 4 months of juggling both women without getting caught had made him sloppy. He'd stopped being careful with details like contact names. The label wife, with a heart, stayed, because he never thought anyone at Amanda's family table would see it. The phone stopped ringing. A text message came through. The preview showed on his lock screen. Amanda was close enough to read it. She read it out loud, her voice breaking. Tyler, where are you? Noah has a fever. 101.5. He won't stop crying and Lily won't eat. You said you'd be home by 3. The babies need you. I need you. Please call me back. Noah? Amanda's voice was barely a whisper now. Lily? Babies? You have children? Tyler reached for her. Amanda, let me explain. Don't touch me. She pulled away, stumbled backward. I stood up, slowly, calmly. Every eye in the room turned to me. Noah was born October 20th at 1:51 a.m. I said clear, clinical, no emotion. 5 pounds, 3 ounces, NICU level 2. His mother, Jennifer, had severe preeclampsia that escalated to HLLP syndrome. Emergency C-section. I was the attending surgeon. Tyler was standing in the middle of the room, frozen. His face had gone from white to gray. You were in the waiting room. Tyler, I continued, holding Lily, your 18-month-old daughter. I walked out at 2:43 in the morning, still in scrubs, still had blood on my shoes. I told you, your wife and son were going to survive. You cried. You thanked me. You said, I thought I was going to lose them both. And then you kissed Jennifer's forehead when I brought you to recovery. Amanda made a sound. Not quite a scream, not quite a sob. Something broken. Your mother-in-law was there, I said to Tyler. Carol Morrison. She stayed all night. She hugged you. After I gave you the good news, she called you the best husband Jennifer could ask for. She was crying because she almost lost her daughter and grandson. Tyler tried to speak. We're separated. Divorce pending. It's complicated. You kissed her. I said, right after I told you both babies were safe. Your mother-in-law was crying beside you. That was October 20th, a Monday. I turned to Amanda. You started dating him 1 week later. October 27th. No. Wait, I'm wrong. You contacted each other in July, 4.5 months ago. I looked back at Tyler, which means you were dating my sister, while Jennifer was 6 months pregnant, high risk, on bed rest. The room was completely silent now. No one was breathing. He was taking you to dinner while his wife was confined to bed rest. I said to Amanda. My voice was still calm, but there was an edge now, just a hint of pain underneath. He was texting you good night while Jennifer couldn't even get up to make herself food. He was telling you he loved you while she was lying flat, terrified she'd lose the pregnancy. And then, when the pregnancy nearly killed her in October, 1 week after I saved her life, he came to you. Amanda bent over, vomited into her napkin, right there at the table. My mother rushed to her. Amanda, sweetie. But Amanda pushed her away, vomited again. Her whole body was shaking. Tyler grabbed his coat from the back of his chair. I have to go. Where are you going? Amanda shrieked. Where the fuck are you going? He didn't answer, just walked out of the dining room, into the foyer, out the front door. It slammed behind him. The sound echoed through the house. Amanda collapsed into her chair, sobbing, hyperventilating. My mother was trying to comfort her, but Amanda kept pushing her away. Get away from me. Get away. I sat down, picked up my fork, cut another piece of turkey. Carol Henderson, my mother's friend, stood up. I'm leaving. I can't be part of this. She grabbed her purse and walked out. Susan Mitchell followed. Then Linda Chen. 4 guests left in under a minute. Aunt Helen walked over to me, put her hand on my shoulder, leaned down and whispered, I had no idea, honey. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, I said. You're incredible, she said. What you do, saving that woman. I'm ashamed. I didn't ask more questions. Uncle Bob stood up, walked over to my mother. Jesus Christ, Pat, your daughter is a surgeon, and you never told us. My mother didn't answer. She was staring at Amanda, who was still crying, still hyperventilating. More guests stood, awkward, uncomfortable. They mumbled excuses and left. Within 10 minutes, only 6 people remained. Me, my mother, Amanda, Aunt Helen, Uncle Bob, Cousin Greg. The turkey sat in the middle of the table, cold, untouched. Amanda finally looked at me. Her face was destroyed, mascara running, nose red, eyes swollen. Why didn't you say something? When you met him? Why didn't you warn me? I met him 45 minutes ago, I said, and I didn't know he was lying to you until I saw his reaction to my medical case description. You're lying, she whispered. You knew. You were waiting. You wanted to destroy this. I wanted to eat Thanksgiving dinner, I said. He destroyed it himself when he decided to answer my mother's question about my job by sitting there while you called me a candy giver. My mother finally spoke. Her voice was quiet, broken. Mary, I didn't know he was married. I would never have. You didn't know he was married, I said, turning to face her. But you knew I was a doctor. You knew I saved lives. You knew I worked 80-hour weeks. You knew I delivered over 180 babies last year. You knew I published research. You knew I taught residents. You knew all of that. And you told people I handed out stickers. She opened her mouth, closed it. No words came. You know what the worst part is? I said. My voice was controlled, but there was pain underneath now. Real pain. Years of it. It's not that you were embarrassed. It's that you never asked. You never came to the hospital. You never asked what a maternal fetal surgeon does. You never asked why I chose this. You just decided it wasn't good enough, and you spent 7 years making sure everyone else thought so too. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. I didn't. Your father would have been so proud. I'm so sorry. Dad died when I was 19, I said. I went to medical school to save people like him, people who don't make it. I chose OBGYN because mothers die, Mom. They die in delivery rooms. They hemorrhage. They stroke out. They code on the table. And I stopped that. I stopped it 12 times last year. I saved 12 women who would have died. That's my job. And you called it handing out candy. I stood up, folded my napkin, placed it beside my plate. Mary, wait. My mother said, please, don't go. Not like this. It's Thanksgiving. You're my daughter. please. I have patients who need me. I said, please, Amanda said. She was still crying. Mary, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I should have asked. I should have. I'm sorry I mocked you. You're amazing. You're a surgeon. You save babies. I don't save babies, Amanda, I said, correcting her even now. I save mothers. The babies are usually fine. It's the mothers who die, and no one talks about it because we're not supposed to die anymore, but we do. 700 women a year in the US. I make sure my patients aren't on that list. What can I do? Amanda asked. How can I fix this? You can't, I said. I walked to the door. My mother called after me. Mary, please, please, don't go. I stopped. Hand on the doorknob. Didn't turn around. I've spent 7 years saving women like Jennifer. I said, women who trusted me with their lives. Women who thanked me. Women who sent me cards when their babies turned 1. That's where I get my validation. Not from you. Not anymore. Please, she whispered. I'm done fighting to be seen by people who refused to look. I said, I'm done making myself small so you feel big. I'm done. It's Thanksgiving. She said, you're my daughter. I have patients who need me. I said again. I opened the door, walked out, closed it behind me with a quiet click. Not a slam, because I didn't need to slam doors. I'd already said everything. I sat in my car for a moment, engine on, heater warming up. It was cold outside, 42 degrees. November dark, the kind of dark that comes at 5:30 p.m. and settles in for the night. I should have felt devastated. I should have felt like I'd burned something down, like I'd destroyed my family, but I didn't. I felt lighter. For 7 years, I'd been holding my breath, waiting for them to see me, trying to earn something that was never going to be given. And tonight, I'd finally exhaled. I didn't need them to validate my work. My work validated itself. Every time I walked out of an OR with a living mother and a breathing baby, every time a patient thanked me, every time I made a decision that saved a life, the applause I'd been waiting for, it was never going to come, and I was done waiting. I put the car in drive and headed toward the hospital. The route was automatic, 35 minutes. Westchester County, roads to I-287 to Valhalla, past houses with warm lights, past families gathered around tables, past lives that looked simpler than mine. But my life wasn't simple. It never would be. And I was okay with that. I pulled into the hospital parking lot at 6:15 p.m. The maternity wing lights were on. Someone was in labor right now. Someone was being saved right now. This building, this work, this was home. I badged in through the staff entrance. The familiar sounds hit me immediately. Monitors beeping, nurses talking in low voices, a baby crying somewhere in the distance, the hum of the NICU, the smell of hospital, that mix of disinfectant and hope and desperation. Deborah Williams, the night shift charge nurse, looked up from her station. Dr. Shockley, I thought you were off tonight. I was, I said, but I wanted to check on Mrs. Patterson. She smiled. You know what's funny? I can walk into any delivery room in this hospital, and people are happy to see me. They trust me. They thank me. I matter here. You do matter here, Deborah said. You know that, right? Yeah, I said. I do. I walked to the maternity floor, knocked on room 312. Mrs. Patterson looked up from her bed. She was 32, pregnant with twins at 34 weeks. I'd stopped her preterm labor earlier this week with medication. She was stable now, waiting, hoping to make it to 37 weeks. Dr. Shockley, she said, on Thanksgiving? Just wanted to check in, I said. How are you feeling? We talked for a few minutes. I examined her briefly. Blood pressure, good. Twins, moving, well. Everything stable. You saved my twins this week, she said. I don't know how to thank you. You don't need to thank me, I said. Just keep those babies cooking for a few more weeks, okay? You're doing all the hard work. I'm just the backup. Her husband was asleep in the chair beside her bed. She smiled at him, then at me. My sister is pregnant too. High risk. Can I give her your name? Of course, I said. That's what I'm here for. I left her room and walked to the NICU, scrubbed in the soft lights, the incubators, the tiny babies fighting to grow. I walked to one specific incubator. Baby girl Torres, 32 weeks, 3 pounds 8 ounces, born last week via emergency C-section, placental abruption. I'd saved both mother and baby. Hey there, little one, I said softly, looking through the incubator glass. Look at you, breathing on your own now. That's my girl. Your mom is going to be so proud when she sees you tomorrow. Keep fighting, okay? NICU nurse came over. Dr. Shockley, the Torres family asked if you could be here for discharge. Probably Saturday. They said they only trust you. My eyes stung just a little. Tell them yes, I'll be here. I went to the break room, sat on the old couch, pulled out my phone. 23 missed calls, 15 from my mother, 8 from Amanda, 47 text messages. I didn't read them. Instead, I scrolled to an old text thread. Mrs. Chen, a patient from 2023. Emergency C-section, severe hemorrhage. I'd saved her life. She'd texted me on her daughter's first birthday. Thank you for saving us both. Emily turned 1 today. We named her middle name Mary. Emily Mary Chen. Born March 2023. Alive. Because I'd known exactly what to do at 3 a.m. when her mother started bleeding out. This was why I became a doctor. Not for my mother's approval, not for my sister's respect, for Emily Mary Chen, for Noah Hutchinson, for baby girl Torres, for the 186 families I'd helped bring into the world last year. They saw me. They always had. The door opened. Deborah poked her head in. There's someone here to see you. Says it's urgent. I stood up, walked to the maternity floor, waiting area, and froze. Jennifer Hutchinson was standing there, blonde, exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, holding Noah in his carrier, holding Lily's hand. The 18-month-old was clinging to her mother's leg, scared. Noah had been discharged from NICU just 3 weeks ago. November 10th, his pediatrician had been clear. Limit exposure to crowds. No travel. Watch for any signs of fever or respiratory distress until he reached his original due date in mid-December. Jennifer's mother, Carol, had wanted to drive down from Connecticut to help with Thanksgiving, to give Jennifer a break. But Carol had come down with a head cold the week before. Nothing serious for an adult. But with a premature infant, they couldn't risk it. So Jennifer had stayed home alone with a 5-week-old and an 18-month-old on Thanksgiving, while her husband told her he was closing a deal in Chicago. Jennifer didn't know if I would be at the hospital on Thanksgiving night, but Noah's fever kept climbing. 101.5. Now, and Maria Ferrer was where Noah was born, where I worked, where Jennifer felt safest. She drove there, hoping, praying. She looked up, saw me, started crying. Doctor, Shockley, I'm sorry to come here. I didn't know where else to go. I walked over to her, calm, professional. It's okay. What's going on? Tyler left, she said, voice breaking. He's not answering his phone. Noah has a fever, and I know it's Thanksgiving, but the pediatrician said if it goes above 101, I should bring him in. And I remembered you said if I ever had concerns, I trust you. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. I said, come on, let's get Noah checked out. You're okay. I've got you. I brought Jennifer to the pediatric ER. Paige, the pediatrician on call, stayed with her while Noah was examined. Minor viral fever, not serious. Temperature already coming down with Tylenol. But we'd monitor for a few hours just to be safe. I sat with Jennifer in the exam room, held Lily, so Jennifer could focus on Noah. The toddler fell asleep in my arms within minutes. Warm, heavy, trusting. Noah's going to be fine. I told Jennifer, it's just a cold. His temperature is already coming down. But I want to keep you here for a few hours, just to monitor. You can stay in the family room. There's a couch. Lily can sleep there. And you, when was the last time you ate? I don't remember. She said, I ordered food from the hospital cafeteria, brought it to her, sat with her while she ate. We didn't talk about Tyler. Not yet. She was too fragile, too exhausted. But eventually, she asked. Tyler said he had a work trip, and now he's not answering. Did something happen? I had to decide, tell her the truth or stay out of it. I chose truth. Jennifer, I said gently, I need to tell you something, but first, I need you to know Noah is safe. You're safe. You're here. And we're going to take care of you both, okay? She nodded. Tyler was at my family's Thanksgiving dinner tonight. I said, with my sister, they've been dating for 4 months. The words hung in the air. Jennifer's face went blank. Then she started crying, silent at first, then harder. He said we were trying to work things out, that the baby would save us. And he was with someone else. I held her hand, didn't say anything, just stayed. I'm so sorry, I said. Finally, I know this is the worst possible time, but you deserve to know. He told her he was in Chicago. He told you he was in Chicago. He lied to both of you. Jennifer cried for a long time. I stayed with her, didn't leave. Professional boundaries maintained, but human connection honored. Eventually, she asked, did you know when you were operating? No. I said, I met him as your husband. He loved you, at least in that moment. He did. What do I do now? She whispered, whatever happens next. With Tyler, that's between you two. I said, but right now, Noah is healthy. Lily is safe. You survived a life-threatening pregnancy. You're here. You're strong. And you have people who will support you. Starting with me, if you'll let me. She looked at me. Why are you being so kind to me? I'm a stranger, and My husband he hurt your sister. You didn't hurt anyone. I said, you're my patient, and I don't abandon my patients. My phone buzzed. Text from Aunt Helen. Your mother is devastated. Amanda is a mess, but I'm proud of you. You did the right thing. Love you, honey. I responded, thank you. I'm okay. At the hospital, where I belong. Another text. Amanda, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Tyler blocked me. I'm such an idiot. Please call me. I didn't respond. Not yet. Maybe not for a long time. A nurse appeared in the doorway. Dr. Shockley, Mrs. Patterson started having contractions again. Can you come? I stood immediately. Jennifer looked up at me. Go save someone else. I'll be okay. I'll check on you before I leave. I said. I scrubbed in, evaluated Mrs. Patterson. The contractions were mild, but concerning. I gave her another dose of medication to stop the labor, monitored her for 2 hours. The contractions stopped. The twins were safe. For now, it was 1,130 p.m. when I finished. I was exhausted, but it was the good kind of exhausted, the kind that comes from doing work that matters. I checked on Jennifer one more time. She was asleep on the family room couch. Noah and his carrier beside her. Lily curled up next to her mom. Both of them safe, protected. I smiled. Then I changed out of my scrubs and headed home, but not before checking my phone one last time. Jennifer had texted me while I was with Mrs. Patterson. Thank you for everything. For saving me in October. For saving me again tonight. Noah's fever is down. We're going to stay here tonight. I feel safe. I don't know what happens next, but I know I'm going to be okay. Because of you, Jennifer. I saved the text. Then I drove home. 25 minutes to my apartment in White Plains. Small, 1-bedroom, simple. But it was mine, and it was quiet, and it was enough. I thought about the day, about the dinner, about Tyler's face. When he realized I knew, about Amanda vomiting, about my mother's broken apology, about walking out, about Jennifer showing up, about helping her even after everything. I thought about worth. I'd spent 8 years in medicine trying to earn my mother's pride. 4 years as an attending surgeon, proving myself every single day, trying to make Amanda respect me, trying to prove I was enough. But I was already enough. I've been enough. Every single time I walked into an OR and saved a life. Every single time a patient thanked me. Every single time a baby took their first breath. Because I was there. That's where my worth lives. Not at a dinner table where I'm invisible, but in an operating room at 2 a.m. when someone's life is on the line. In a NICU at midnight when I'm holding a premature baby's hand through an incubator. In every single moment, I show up and do the work that matters. Your worth isn't proven at the family dinner table. It's proven in the moments when everything is falling apart and you're the only one who knows how to fix it. It's proven when someone looks at you with terrified eyes and you say, I've got you, and you mean it. I know where I belong, and it's not where people make me feel small. It's where I make miracles happen. That's my table. That's my family. And I'm done apologizing for it. My phone buzzed one more time. Hospital scheduling. Dr. Shockley. Emergency C-section scheduled 3 a.m. Patient just arrived via ambulance requesting you specifically. Can you come in? I looked at the message, looked at my apartment, looked at my scrubs in my bag, I smiled, typed back, "On my way, because this is who I am. This is where I belong, and I wouldn't have it any other way."
On Mother's Day, my mom gushed on Facebook, blessed with the most beautiful grandchild about my sister's son. I was 7 months pregnant. No mention, no call. I stayed quiet. In 24 hours, my delivery room photo hit 20,000 likes. Not because of her face, but because of who was holding her. My name is Ellen Robbins. I'm 31 years old. On Mother's Day 2025, I was 7 weeks pregnant with my first child. After 2 devastating miscarriages that almost broke me, that Sunday morning, I sat alone in my kitchen in Columbus, Ohio, hands trembling as I opened Facebook. There it was, my mother's post, a smiling photo of my sister's 2-year-old son, Tyler, with the caption, "Blessed with the most beautiful grandchild, my heart." My heart is so full. No mention of me, no mention that I was carrying her second grandchild. No call, no text, nothing. I had driven my mother to chemotherapy 52 times. I had paid $18,000 out of pocket when her insurance refused to cover it. I had held her hand through every single scan and every midnight fever. Yet on Mother's Day, while I was terrified of losing another baby, I simply didn't exist to her. They had no idea that 7 months later, when I went into early labor, the person holding my newborn daughter in that delivery room wouldn't be them. And they definitely didn't know that the photo of my baby would explode to 20,000 likes in just 24 hours. Not because of me, but because of who was holding her. Before I tell you who was standing there and what happened next, if you're already feeling the weight of this story, please hit like and subscribe, but only if it truly resonates with you. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from and what time it is right now. I read every single one. Now let me take you back to where it all really began. January 2020, my mother Carol was diagnosed with stage 2 billions breast cancer at Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center in Columbus. I was 24 years old, 2 years into teaching 3rd grade. My sister Allison was 29, living in Austin, Texas, 1,200 miles away. The phone call came on a Friday afternoon. Mom's voice was shaking. "Ellen, they found something. Stage 2 billions. I need you." I was at school. I told my principal I'd need to leave early for a family emergency. I drove straight to her house. Allison texted me that night. "I can't fly in right now. Work is crazy. You're closer anyway." That became the pattern. I was closer. I was available. I was the one who could rearrange my life. But I didn't know yet that those drives to Wexner Medical Center would change forever how I understood the word family. The first appointment with Dr. Rachel Brennan, Mom's oncologist, happened 3 days later. I drove Mom to Wexner Medical Center. Dr. Brennan was 48 then, a breast cancer survivor herself. She had this calm, steady presence that made you feel like everything had a plan. I brought a blue notebook. I asked questions, a lot of questions. What stage exactly? What's the treatment protocol? What are the side effects we need to watch for? What medications will she need? What's the timeline? Dr. Brennan looked at me carefully. "You're asking all the right questions. Are you in healthcare?" "No," I said, "I'm a teacher. I just need to understand everything." Mom sat there quietly. She didn't ask much. She just looked scared. Dr. Brennan nodded. "Your mother is lucky to have you." Mom didn't say anything. I filled that blue notebook with over 200 pages of notes over the next 2 years. Treatment plans, side effects, medication schedules, everything. The chemotherapy started in February 2020, every 2 weeks for the first year, then monthly. I drove her to 52 appointments, not 50, not 55, 52. I counted because I saved the parking receipts. Each appointment took between 4 and 6 hours. Sit in the infusion room, watch the IV drip, hold her hand when the nausea hit, drive her home, make sure she got inside safely. Let me tell you what one of those appointments was really like. The infusion room at Wexner smelled like chemical disinfectant, mixed with something sweet and metallic. The fluorescent lights hummed. Mom sat in a blue recliner with an IV line in her left arm. I sat next to her with my blue notebook. Around us, other patients slept or stared at their phones. The chemo dripped slowly, Drip, drip, drip. Each drop supposed to save her life, but making her feel like she was dying. After the first hour, she'd start feeling nauseous. I'd hold a basin. Sometimes she threw up. Sometimes she just dry heaved. I'd rub her back and whisper, "You're doing great, Mom. Almost done." I was a third-grade teacher, but in those moments, I was learning to be a nurse, a mother, and a daughter all at once. I met Nathan Robbins during this time. He's a firefighter and EMT. We met at a coffee shop near the hospital. He saw me studying my notebook, asked what I was working on. I told him I was taking care of my mom through cancer. He didn't run. Most guys would have. He stayed. In 2021, Mom needed surgery. Allison flew in for that. She stayed 48 hours. She posted 15 Instagram stories, praying for Mom with photos of flowers, the hospital waiting room, her coffee cup. Not a single photo of me, even though I'd been there every day for a week, leading up to the surgery and stayed every night after. When Allison left, Mom said, "It was so good to see her. I'd been there the whole time." The bill started coming in late 2021. Mom's insurance covered about 70% of the costs. The remaining 30% came to $18,000. That was the out-of-pocket portion under her Obamacare Affordable Care Act plan, with a high deductible. I filed it as a medical expense deduction on my IRS Form 140, but I still had to pay the full amount up front. Allison said she'd split it with me. I waited 3 months. She didn't send anything. I texted her in December 2021. "The bill is due. Can you send your half?" "Things are tight right now," she replied. "Can you cover it first?" "I'll pay you back." I paid the full $18,000 on my credit card on December 12, 2022. Chase Sapphire, 18 months at 0% APR. I still have the receipt. I saved it to my Google Drive in a folder called Mom Cancer. Allison never paid me back. December 20th, 2022. Mom's oncologist declared her cancer-free remission. I drove her home from that appointment. She was crying happy tears. I was exhausted, relieved, but exhausted. That afternoon, she posted on Facebook, "Cancer-free, so grateful for my family and Dr. Brennan." She tagged Allison. She tagged my dad, Douglas. She didn't tag me. I read it in the car before I drove away from her house. My hands were shaking. I didn't comment. I didn't say anything. Mom asked if I was okay. I said I was just tired. Dr. Brennan sent me a private message that night. "I saw the post. I know what you did. Thank you." I cried in my car after I read that. 3 months later, in March 2023, 2 things happened. Allison had a baby, a boy she named Tyler, and Nathan asked me to marry him. I said yes. Mom flew to Austin to help Allison with the baby. She stayed for 3 weeks. When she came back, it was the weekend of my wedding. She stayed for 2 days. She didn't post a single photo from my wedding on Facebook. "I can't stay long," she said at the reception. "Allison needs me with the baby." "You were just there for 3 weeks," I said. "Well, she just had a baby, Ellen." Nathan looked at me across the room. I could see it in his face. He was angry, but I just smiled and nodded. From March to December 2023, Mom posted 50 times about Tyler. First smile, first laugh, first steps. I followed along silently. Every post was like a small cut, not deep enough to bleed out, but enough to sting. Nathan started getting frustrated. "She didn't even thank you, not once, not publicly." "She said thank you in person," I told him. "That's not enough," he said. In October 2023, I got pregnant for the first time. I didn't tell anyone except Nathan. I wanted to wait until 12 weeks until it felt safe. I didn't make it to 12 weeks. I didn't know then that this pain was just the beginning of greater shocks ahead. November 18th, 2023. I miscarried at 9 weeks. It was a Saturday. Nathan held me on the bathroom floor. There was blood. So much blood. I knelt down to clean the floor while Nathan hadn't made it home yet from his shift at the fire station. Blood mixed with tears on the white tile. I whispered, "I'm sorry, baby. Mommy's so sorry." When it was over, I called my mother. "Mom," I said, "I lost the baby." There was a pause. Tyler was crying in the background. She was visiting Allison again. "Oh, honey, I'm sorry," she said. Her voice sounded distracted. "But you're young? You can try again. I have to go. Tyler's crying." The call lasted 3 minutes and 12 seconds. She never called back to check on me. Allison didn't even know I'd been pregnant. Mom never told her. I started paying attention to our family group chat after that. It was called Robin's Family. From March 2023 to November 2024, there were 203 messages about Tyler. 12 messages about me. 11 of those 12 were me asking how everyone was doing. The one message about me that I didn't write myself was Dad saying congrats when Nathan and I got married. In May 2024, I was named Teacher of the Year for my district by the Ohio Department of Education. There was a ceremony. Nathan came. My parents didn't. I called Mom to invite her. I won Teacher of the Year. The ceremony is Friday at 4. "Oh, that's wonderful," she said. "But Allison is in town with Tyler this week. We're taking him to the zoo on Friday." "Okay," I said. "Never mind." Nathan took a photo of me holding my certificate. He posted it on Facebook. 47 people commented, "Congratulations." My mother liked the post. She didn't comment. I got pregnant again in June 2024. This time, I didn't tell my mother. I only told Nathan and Dr. Brennan. Yes, Dr. Brennan. Over the 2 years of Mom's treatment, Dr. Brennan and I had stayed in touch. She checked in on me. She knew I'd miscarried. When I told her I was pregnant again, she said, "I'm here if you need anything." August 23, 2024. I miscarried again at 11 weeks. I was in my kitchen making breakfast. The bleeding started. Blood on the kitchen floor. I was on my knees trying to clean it up. Tears streaming down my face while Nathan was at the fire station. I called him. He was there in 12 minutes, still in his uniform. I didn't call my mother this time. I didn't see the point. Dr. Brennan came to the hospital. She sat with me for an hour. She didn't say much. She just sat there. That meant more than any words. I'm not telling them anymore. I told Nathan that night. They don't get to know. In October 2024, I got pregnant for the 3rd time. I didn't tell my family until April 2025, when I was 6 months along, and couldn't hide it anymore. I posted in the family group chat, "Nathan and I are expecting in December." Mom replied 4 hours later, "Congrats, honey." Allison replied 6 hours later, "That's great." Dad replied 10 hours later, "Good news." That was it. No one asked if it was a boy or girl. No one asked when the due date was. No one asked how I was feeling. Nathan read the messages over my shoulder. He picked up my phone and threw it across the room. "Are you kidding me? This is how they react?" I picked up the phone. The screen was cracked. "I told you," I said. "They don't care." In early May, my friends threw me a baby shower. I invited Mom and Allison. Mom said she couldn't come. "I'm already flying to Austin that weekend," she said. "Tyler has his 2nd birthday party on the 5th. My baby shower was May 3rd. Tyler's birthday was May 5th. She chose Tyler. 23 people came to my baby shower. There were 2 empty chairs at the family table, one for Mom, one for Allison. My friend Sarah asked, "Where's your family?" "They had other plans," I said. And then came Mother's Day, May 11th, 2025. I was 7 weeks pregnant, still in that terrifying first trimester where anything could go wrong. I'd told my mother about the pregnancy 3 weeks earlier. She knew. That Sunday morning, I woke up and checked my phone, 8:02 a.m. My mother had posted a photo of Tyler hugging her. The caption said, I sat in my kitchen and read it 3 times. Nathan was making breakfast. I didn't say anything. I placed my hand on my stomach, trying to feel for a heartbeat, even though the doctor said it was still too early. Tears fell without sound, because I was afraid to disturb Nathan frying eggs. No call from my mother that day. No text. Nothing. By noon, the post had 147 likes and 38 comments. People saying, "You're so blessed and what a beautiful grandson." One comment stood out. Someone asked, "Is this your only grandchild?" Mom replied, "Yes, my first." I took a screenshot at 8:06 a.m. I saved it to a folder I'd created called Evidence. Nathan saw me looking at my phone. "Ellen, I'm fine," I said. Do you want me to call them? No. I said, let them enjoy their day. 3 of my friends messaged me privately. Did you see your mom's post? Yeah, I replied to each one. I didn't explain. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, comment, I see you right now. I'm reading every single comment. That night, I lay in bed and thought about calling her. I even typed out a text. Thanks for remembering me today, Mom. I deleted it. The next week, I did something I'd been avoiding. I organized every piece of evidence I had. Every screenshot, every receipt, every email. I had a folder for this cancer treatment. 52 documents showing every appointment, bank statements showing the $18,000 payment, gas receipts totaling over $3,000, time off requests from work showing I'd taken 8 unpaid days to care for her after surgery. That cost me $2,200 in lost wages. I had a folder for family posts, 30 screenshots of Mom's Facebook posts about Tyler, 0 posts mentioning my pregnancy, the Mother's Day post, the only grandchild comment from November 2024 when I was already 8 months pregnant. I had a folder for text messages, 15 conversations where I reached out and got one-word replies, or nothing at all. Nathan found me at my laptop at midnight. What are you doing? I'm not doing this to hurt them, I said. I'm doing this so I never forget my worth. What are you going to do with all this? I don't know yet, I said. But when the time comes, I'll be ready. In late May, I met Dr. Brennan for coffee, not a medical appointment, just coffee. I told her about Mother's Day. I told her about the post. I told her about feeling invisible. Dr. Brennan listened. Then she told me something I didn't know. When she was going through her own cancer treatment 15 years ago, her family abandoned her. Her mother stopped calling. Her sister said she was too busy to help. Ellen, she said, you gave your mother life twice, once when you were born, and once when you saved her from cancer. She owes you truth. I don't want her to owe me, I said. I just want her to see me. Dr. Brennan looked at me across the table. When your baby comes, who do you want in that room? I didn't hesitate. You, Nathan, that's it. Then I'll be there, she said. Nathan had a conversation with Dr. Brennan that I didn't know about until later. He sent her an email on May 2005. The subject line was, "Emergency contact, the only person I trust when blood family can't be trusted." He wrote, "Ellen trusts you more than her own family. If something happens during delivery, you're my first call." Dr. Brennan replied, "I'm honored, and I'll be there." Between June and November, Mom posted 12 more times about Tyler, his birthday party, his first day of preschool, his Halloween costume as a little superhero, 0 posts about my pregnancy, 0 questions about how I was feeling. She asked one time, when my due date was. I said December. She said, "Oh, nice." That was the entire conversation. On Thanksgiving 2025, my family gathered at my parents' house in Columbus. I lived 20 minutes away. I didn't go. I told them I wasn't feeling well. That was partly true. I was 9 months pregnant. I was exhausted. But mostly, I just didn't want to be there. "You're not coming to Thanksgiving?" Mom asked on the phone. "I'm 9 months pregnant, Mom. I'm exhausted." "Well, Allison is flying in with Tyler. Have a good time," I said. They posted a family photo. So grateful for family. The photo showed Mom, Dad, Allison, and Tyler. One of my old friends commented, "Where's Ellen?" Mom replied, "She wasn't feeling well." She didn't mention I lived 20 minutes away. She made it sound like I was far away or too sick to come. Neither was true. In early December, Nathan packed my hospital bag. He put in clothes, toiletries, a phone charger, and at the bottom, a small card with Dr. Brennan's personal cell number written by hand. I saw it. "Why is Dr. Brennan on the emergency contact list?" "Because," Nathan said, "she cares about you more than people who should." I didn't argue. On December 14th, just after 11 p.m., I started feeling contractions. They were light. I told Nathan. We timed them for a couple of hours. I took a deep breath. The hospital air was cold, carrying the smell of disinfectant. By 2 a.m. on December 15th, they were 5 minutes apart. "We need to go," Nathan said. Now, he drove me to Wexner Medical Center. It took 12 minutes. I was in pain, gripping the door handle. When we got to the ER, the nurse asked, "Who should we call?" "Just my husband," I said. "No one else." By 6:15 a.m., I was in the labor and delivery room. The contractions were getting stronger. I made a decision. I was going to give my mother one last chance. I called her on FaceTime. She declined the call after 3 rings. A text came through a minute later. "Busy with Tyler right now. Call you later." I read it. My hands were shaking. Nathan saw the message. "Are you fucking serious?" "It's okay," I said. I already knew. I handed him my phone. "Don't let me see it again until after she's born." At 7:30 a.m., Dr. Brennan walked through the door. She was in casual clothes, a blue cardigan and jeans. She was holding a bouquet of yellow tulips. "I heard someone's having a baby today," she said. I started crying. "You came." "Of course I did," she said. "I wouldn't miss this." The nurse asked, "Are you the grandmother?" Dr. Brennan looked at me. I nodded. "She's family," I said. The next 2 hours were a blur. Contractions, pain, breathing. Nathan holding one hand, Dr. Brennan holding the other. At one point I said, "I can't do this." Dr. Brennan squeezed my hand. "You drove me to chemo 52 times when your mother thought she was dying. You can do anything." At 9:14 a.m., my daughter was born. 6 pounds, 3 ounces, 19 inches, healthy cry. Perfect. They placed her on my chest. I looked down at her tiny face. "Hi, baby," I whispered. "I'm your mom." Nathan cut the umbilical cord. He was crying. I was crying. Dr. Brennan was crying. After they cleaned us both up, after I'd rested for a bit, Dr. Brennan asked, "Can I hold her?" "Of course," I said. Nathan handed her the baby. Dr. Brennan sat in the blue rocking chair by the window. Natural light came through. She looked down at my daughter and smiled. Nathan took out his phone. "Can I take a picture?" "Yes," I said. He had a tiny baby. The morning light, the smile on her face. Pure love. Dr. Brennan looked at me. "She's perfect. Just like her mother." "Thank you for being here," I said. "You didn't have to." "Yes, I did," she said. Then she pulled out her phone. "Ellen, can I share this photo? I'd like to tell people what real love looks like." I thought about it for maybe 3 seconds. Then I said, "Yes, please do." But before she posted it, she did something I wasn't expecting. She opened Facebook on her phone and pulled up my mother's page. She found the Mother's Day post. "Ellen," Dr. Brennan said, "I want you to hear this before I post." She paused for a second, then said quietly, "Ellen, I was abandoned by my own blood family when I had cancer 15 years ago. Today, I won't let history repeat itself with you." She read the caption out loud. "Blessed with the most beautiful grandchild. My heart is so full." She looked at me. "This was on Mother's Day. You were 7 weeks pregnant. You'd told her 3 weeks before. 2 weeks ago, she told someone on Facebook that Tyler was her only grandchild. And this morning, when you went into labor, she declined your call because she was busy with Tyler. Is that right?" I nodded. "Then the world needs to know what real maternal love looks like," she said. She typed out a caption, then showed it to me before posting. It said, "2 years ago, Ellen Robbins sat in my office and asked every right question to save her mother's life. She drove her mother to chemotherapy 52 times. She paid $18,000 out of pocket when insurance wouldn't cover it. She never missed an appointment. She held her mother's hand through every moment of fear. Today, I held her daughter, Natalie. This is what real maternal love looks like. Showing up when it's hard, sacrificing without recognition, and loving without condition. Ellen, you are the mother I hope Natalie becomes." She tagged the Breast Cancer Advocacy Foundation. She tagged Wexner Medical Center. She set the location as Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, labor and delivery. "Post it," I said. She posted it at 2:07 p.m. on December 15, 2025. Within 15 minutes, it had 50 likes. Within 30 minutes, 150. Within an hour, 500. Dr. Brennan had 5,000 friends on Facebook, the maximum allowed, plus another 30,200 followers. The 2025 Facebook algorithm prioritized posts from verified medical professionals and posts with high early engagement, pushing her content to the top of news feeds across the medical community and cancer survivor networks. By 3 p.m., the post was being shared in oncology nurse groups. By 6 p.m., it was the first time I was in the hospital. The comments started coming in fast. I've seen this too many times. Caregivers who give everything and get nothing back. Thank you for naming it. This breaks my heart. Where was her mother? Ellen sounds like an extraordinary person. By 6 p.m., the post had 3,000 likes and 400 shares. Then someone tagged my mother. A mutual friend shared Dr. Brennan's post and wrote, "Carol Robbins, this is beautiful. You must be so proud of Ellen." More comments came. Carol Robbins, Ellen sounds like an amazing daughter and mother. You raised her well. I didn't see any of this yet. I was resting, holding Natalie, recovering, but people started noticing something. They clicked on my mother's profile. They saw the Mother's Day post. They saw the 63 posts about Tyler. They saw 0 posts about the pregnancy. The comments on Dr. Brennan's post shifted. Wait, I just looked at Carol Robbins' page. She posts constantly about her grandson Tyler, but I don't see a single post about Ellen's pregnancy. What's going on here? I see the same thing. That's heartbreaking. Someone check if Carol ever thanked Ellen publicly for saving her life during cancer. They went back through 2 years of posts. They found the remission post from December 2022. Cancer-free. So grateful for my family and Dr. Brennan. She tagged Allison and my dad, not me. 20 people commented on Dr. Brennan's post with screenshots. By 9 p.m., cancer survivor communities were rallying. The hashtag #InvisibleCaregivers started trending in those circles. My daughter took care of me for 3 years during my cancer. I make sure to thank her publicly every single day. This mother should be ashamed. Ellen deserves better. By 11 p.m. on December 15th, the post had 15,000 likes, 2,100 shares, and over 800 comments. A local Columbus news blog picked it up. Ohio teacher's viral birth photo sparks conversation about family dynamics. The blog Ohio Mom Life ran the headline, "Ohio teacher's viral birth photo sparks, #InvisibleCaregivers movement." The hashtag was trending in cancer survivor groups and teacher forums nationwide. Before you see what happened at 20,000 likes, hit the like button if you believe in chosen family. And subscribe so you don't miss stories like this. At 11:08 p.m., my phone rang. It was my mother. I looked at the screen. Nathan was sitting next to me. "You going to answer?" "No," I said. She left a voicemail. I listened to it the next morning. "Ellen, people are tagging me in some post about you and the baby. I don't understand what's going on. Call me back." I didn't know that. I just wanted to read a book about it. It says, afternoon, 15 missed calls from Mom, 8 from Allison, 3 from Dad, 28 text messages. I read them all. "Mom, Ellen, why didn't you tell me you were in labor? Why is some doctor posting about our private business? People are saying horrible things about me. Call me now." Allison, "Ellen, what is going on? Mom is freaking out." Dad, "Honey, please call your mother back." Not one of them asked how the baby was. Not one asked how I was feeling. Not one asked Natalie's name or her weight, or if she was healthy. Every single message was about them, their embarrassment, their image. I took screenshots of all 28 messages. I saved them to a folder called Aftermath. On December 17th, my mother deleted the Mother's Day post, but it was too late. People had been screenshotting it and posting it in the comments of Dr. Brennan's photo for 2 days. Someone commented, "Notice Carol deleted her Mother's Day post where she called Tyler her only grandchild while Ellen was 7 weeks pregnant." The internet doesn't forget. They attached the screenshot I'd taken at 8:06 a.m. on May 11th. Other people had saved it too. Another comment, "Deleting it doesn't delete the damage, Carol." On December 18th, Nathan and I came home from the hospital with Natalie. Nathan set a strict rule: no visitors except Dr. Brennan and his fire crew. That afternoon, my father showed up at our door. Nathan answered. "I need to see Ellen," Dad said. She's not ready, Nathan said. I'm her father. Then you should have acted like it, Nathan said. He didn't let him in. Dad left an envelope on the doorstep. Inside was a check for $500 and a note. For the baby, I'm sorry. Over the next few days, I did something I needed to do. I read all 26 calls and 28 text messages again. I read them slowly. I highlighted certain phrases. Not one person asked about Natalie. Not one asked if she was healthy, how much she weighed, if she was sleeping okay. Every message was about their feelings, their reputation, their embarrassment. Why are people saying I'm a bad mother? This is so embarrassing. People are talking about our family. Nathan read over my shoulder. You know what you have to do. Yeah, I said. I do. What do you think Ellen should do next? Comment boundaries. If you support setting limits with family, I spent 3 days writing an email. 892 words. I edited it 5 times. Nathan read every draft. On January 22, 2026, at 10:14 a.m., I sent it to my mother. I CC'd Allison and my father. The subject line was, "What I need you to understand." I wrote, "From January 2020 to December 2022, I drove you to chemotherapy 52 times. I paid $18,000 when insurance wouldn't cover your bills. I held your hand when you thought you were dying. Allison flew in 3 times in 2 years. Each visit 48 hours. When you went into remission, you posted that you were grateful for family and Dr. Brennan. You tagged Allison and Dad. You didn't tag me. You didn't name me, not once, not publicly. And then on Mother's Day 2025, while I was 7 weeks pregnant with your second grandchild, a pregnancy I told you about 3 weeks earlier, you posted that Tyler was the most beautiful grandchild and your heart was so full. You didn't call me. You didn't text me. 2 weeks before I gave birth, you told a stranger on Facebook that Tyler was your only grandchild. When I went into labor on December 15th, I called you. You declined the call and texted, "Busy with Tyler. Call you later." I didn't call later. I called someone who actually showed up. Dr. Brennan, the oncologist whose life I helped save you through treatment. That photo that went viral, that wasn't about humiliating you. That was about honoring the person who saw me when you didn't. I'm not asking you to grovel. I'm asking you to tell the truth. The same people who saw you celebrate Tyler need to see you acknowledge what I did for you. And we need professional help to rebuild this. If you even want to rebuild it, here are my conditions. 1. A public acknowledgement on Facebook about the care I provided during your cancer treatment. Not a vague apology. A specific statement naming what I did, the 52 appointments, the $18,000, the 2 years the people who saw you celebrate Tyler deserve to see you recognize me. 2. Family therapy. Not 1 session. A commitment to 6 months of professional counseling. We need help that I can't provide and you can't fake. 3. No contact with Natalie until the first 2 conditions are met. You will not meet my daughter, hold my daughter, or be called grandma until you prove that you see me as your daughter. If you can't do this, I understand, but you will not have access to my daughter until you prove that you see me as your daughter. I don't regret the money. I don't regret the time. I do it all again because that's who I am. But I do regret waiting for love from someone who never learned how to give it. Natalie will never experience that. I'll make sure of it. I hope you choose to do the work, but if you don't, I'll be okay, because I've already built the family I need, Ellen. I hovered over the send button for 30 seconds. Nathan stood behind me. You ready? Yeah. I clicked send. I didn't check my email for 24 hours. When I finally looked, there were 3 replies. Mom's was 365 words long, defensive, deflecting. I never meant to hurt you. I was just so excited about Tyler. You know I love you both equally. I don't understand why you're making this so public. This is between family. I'm your mother. I deserve respect. She didn't mention the $18,000. She didn't mention the 52 appointments. She didn't mention any of the conditions I'd set. She just defended herself and asked for respect. Allison's was shorter. I didn't know it was this bad. I'm sorry you feel this way. Not sorry for what she did. Sorry I felt bad. Dad's was different. Can we talk in person? I want to make this right. I read all three. I closed my laptop. I didn't reply. Nathan asked, "What now? We wait?" I said, "On January 25th, Mom posted a vague apology on Facebook. I've made mistakes as a mother. I'm sorry to anyone I've hurt. Family is complicated. I'm learning and growing. Please respect our privacy." Comments were turned off. She didn't name me. She didn't mention cancer or caregiving or the $18,000. It was the kind of apology that says nothing. I sent her a reply. "That's not the acknowledgement I asked for. I asked you to name what I did. The 52 drives. The $18,000. The 2 years. Saying I made mistakes is not the same as saying Ellen saved my life. I'm not trying to punish you. I'm trying to give you a chance to see me. But you have to actually do the work." She read it. She didn't reply for 3 days. On January 28th, she posted again. This time, it was real. "I need to say something I should have said years ago. My daughter Ellen took care of me through breast cancer from 2020 to 2022. She drove me to 52 chemotherapy appointments. She paid $18,000 when I couldn't. She never left my side. I didn't thank her the way I should have. I didn't acknowledge her sacrifice publicly. I was wrong. I'm sorry, Ellen. And I'm working to be better." She tagged me. She left comments on. It was public. The post got 340 likes and 78 comments within an hour. Most of them said, "It's about time." Some said, "I hope Ellen forgives you." A few said, "This took courage." I read it 3 times. I cried. Nathan asked, "Is that enough?" "It's a start," I said. The next day, January 29th, Mom sent me an email with links to 3 family therapists in Columbus. "I found these. Will you come with me?" I replied, "Yes, but I need you to commit to 6 months like I said." She replied within an hour, "I will. I promise." We booked the first session for February 10th, 2026 at 2 p.m. Dr. Helena Foster at Columbus Family Therapy Center. Allison sent 5 more emails over the next week. All of them said some version of, "I didn't know." None of them said, "I should have shown up." On January 30th, I sent her one final message. "You knew I existed. You chose not to ask. That's enough for me to know. Goodbye, Allison." I blocked her number. I unfriended her on Facebook. I was done. Nathan asked, "You okay with cutting her off?" "She cut me off first," I said. "I'm just making it official. Dad was different. He sent a private message. I should have protected you from your mother's favoritism. I didn't. I'm a coward. I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want to do better." I wrote back, "I appreciate that, but you have to show it, not just say it. Can I meet Natalie?" He asked. After the first family therapy session, I said, "If you show up and participate." He showed up on February 10th. He was early. He brought flowers. In early February, something unexpected happened. I started getting messages from strangers, over 200 of them. Caregivers who'd seen Dr. Brennan's post. People who'd taken care of sick parents, sick spouses, sick children. People who'd never been thanked. I took care of my dad for 5 years, and no one ever acknowledged it. Thank you for speaking up. I'm a nurse, and I see this every day. The invisible caregivers, you gave them a voice. I cried when I saw your story. I felt seen for the first time. I forwarded 20 of those messages to Dr. Brennan. She told me her foundation had received over $15,000 in donations in 2 weeks because of the post. "You started something important, Ellen," she said. "I just told the truth," I said. Dr. Brennan came to visit us every week in February. She'd bring coffee, sit with me and Natalie, give me parenting tips, hold the baby while I showered or napped. One afternoon, she was holding Natalie in the rocking chair. "She looks like you," she said. "Everyone says she has Nathan's nose. But she has your strength," Dr. Brennan said. "I can tell already." I asked her something I'd been thinking about for weeks. "Can Natalie call you Grandma Rachel?" Dr. Brennan looked up at me. Her eyes were wet. "I'd be honored." On February 8th, Nathan's fire crew threw us a late baby shower. 15 firefighters and their wives showed up at our house. They brought gifts worth probably $800. Diapers, clothes, a cribmobile, a meal train for 2 weeks. The fire captain, a guy named Mike, handed me an envelope. Nate's family. So you and Natalie are family too. One of the firefighters' wives pulled me aside. She was a teacher too. We look out for our own, she said. You're not alone. I cried again. I'd been crying a lot, but these were different tears. In mid-February, I went back to teaching. My third graders had made 23 handmade cards. Welcome back, Miss Robbins. They'd drawn pictures of babies, hearts, flowers. One of my students, a little girl named Emma, handed me a card that said, "You're the best mom and the best teacher." I hung all 23 cards on my classroom wall. One evening in late February, I sat alone with Natalie. Nathan was at the fire station on a 24-hour shift. Snow was falling outside our window in Columbus. Light, soft flakes. Natalie was 7 weeks old, the same age I'd been pregnant on Mother's Day. I held her in the rocking chair, the same blue chair Dr. Brennan had sat in when she held Natalie for the first time. "Grandma Carol is trying," I whispered to her. "I don't know if we'll ever be close, but I want you to know something. I'll never make you earn my love. You already have it, all of it, just because you exist." I looked at the snow. I thought about the last year, the Mother's Day post, the 52 drives to chemo, the $18,000, the deleted FaceTime call, the viral photo, the 20,000 likes, the email, the boundaries. I got up and walked to my desk. I opened the drawer where I'd kept the hospital bill, the one from December 12th, 2022, $18,000. I looked at it one last time. Then I put it back in the out loud. I walked back to the rocking chair. Natalie was asleep in my arms. I thought about my family, the real one. Nathan, who'd been there through 2 miscarriages and never left. Dr. Brennan, who showed up when my own mother didn't. The fire crew, who brought meals and gifts and called us family. My students, who made cards with their small hands. My friends, who asked the right questions and didn't look away. Nathan had asked me once if I was going to let Mom back in. I told him maybe, but she doesn't get to be Grandma until she earns it. Dr. Brennan is Grandma Rachel. Mom is Carol. For now, I made a list in my head. Natalie's family, Nathan, Daddy, Grandma Rachel, Uncle Fire Crew, Miss Ellen's students, Carol, conditional. That was our family. I said it out loud. This is our family. The next morning I wrote in my journal, February 14th, 2026, Valentine's Day, a day about love. I wrote, "Sacrifice isn't an invisible obligation. I don't need a viral post to know my worth, but sometimes the world needs to see the truth so that people like me, the caregivers, the givers, the forgotten ones, can be seen. I don't know if my mom will ever fully understand what she did, but I know I'll never do it to Natalie. I want to say something to you directly. If you're taking care of someone who doesn't acknowledge you, you have permission to stop. You have permission to set boundaries. You have permission to choose your own family. Blood doesn't give anyone permission to make you invisible. And if they don't see you, find the people who will. They're out there, I promise." Dr. Brennan told me something that changed everything. Family isn't who raised you. It's who shows up. And now I choose the people who show up. I used to think family love was something you paid for with money, with time, with blood. But here in Columbus, Ohio, in 2026, I learned that real family is the people who show up when you need them most, even if they don't share your blood. Natalie will grow up knowing she doesn't have to earn love. Love was there from the very first second. And if you're reading these words right now, you deserve to be loved like that too. If this story meant something to you, share it with someone who's taking care of family without a thank you. Like it if you believe in chosen family. And comment, "I see you if you're a caregiver. Because I see you, we see each other." Thank you for listening. And remember, you deserve to be loved without conditions. Don't accept anything less. On a quiet February afternoon, Dr. Brennan knocked on my door with 2 coffees. She came in. Nathan was home. We sat in the living room. Natalie was sleeping in her bassinet. Dr. Brennan looked at me. "Room for one more?" "Always," I said. Nathan put his arm around me. Dr. Brennan held her coffee. The snow fell softly outside. Natalie made a small sound in her sleep. I looked around the room. This was it. This was family. Not the one I was born into, the one I chose, the one that chose me back. This is what real love looks like.